streaming on YouTube. And welcome Twitter, you're faster than anyone. And we are here at the European Resilience Initiative Center video stream. We have amazing guests today. We have amazing campaign. And I'm frankly speaking, I'm absolutely thrilled to be a host of this program because we have amazing guests. We have legends. We have guests who are soldiers of the Ukrainian army, or were soldiers in the Ukrainian army now are retired. We have people who are unstoppable patriots of Ukraine and friends of Ukraine brought from Ukraine. Thank you for watching this, and let me tell you about what we are doing here. Because today at 12 at noon Germany time and 1 p.m. Kiev time, we have started a donation marathon for the Ukrainian army, and in particular for the 92nd Brigade, for the 93rd Brigade, for Rubish National Guard Brigade, for the 225th Battalion of the Ukrainian Army, and for...
Sergej, yes. I'm sorry, the viewers say that there's big, huge echo.
An echo?
And yeah, there's like reverb as if there's like two voices speaking.
Okay. Let's have a look how we can correct it.
I think maybe we all just mute our...
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about this stuff, but I'm going to be like...
I don't know how to do it. Is the echo... Andrei, can you assist me and say if there is an echo now? Or...
Just a second. So when the guys speak, it's like yeah, there's echo. When you speak, yeah, there is also echo.
Okay.
It's as if somebody has speakers on. The guys say.
Okay. Is it better now? Is it better now? Oh, I understand. I understand how we can do it. I understand how we can check it. Okay. Okay. Is it better now? I hope it should be.
Just a second. I have like a small delay.
Yeah, because now I think we have checked it.
Yeah. I think it stopped.
It stopped. Great. That was my stupid mistake. I'm so happy that we have managed. So, guys, once again, welcome to the European Resilience Initiative Center live chat, live video streaming with amazing guests who are true patriots of Ukraine, who are true friends of Ukraine. Some of them have fought for Ukraine or are still fighting. Some of them are volunteers who are supporting Ukraine with all means. Some of them are Ukrainian nationals, some of them are from the West. But what unites us all is that we support Ukraine and we want Ukraine to win. And why we do this marathon today? Because today we have decided, we start at noon, Germany time, 1 p.m. Kiev time. So 7 hours ago, we have started a campaign for donations for the 92nd Brigade, 93rd Brigade, 225th Battalion, which is fighting now in Kursk Oblast, and National Guard Rubish Brigade and the Territorial Defense Battalion. So we have said we will raise 50,000 euro for these guys and girls who are risking their life daily and who are protecting our free world, not only Ukraine, protecting the whole free world and fighting evil Russia. And we will support them with all things they need for surviving. And an anonymous donor who addressed Richard Woodruff. Richard, raise your hand. Richard Woodruff from Frontline Kiev in Lviv. And anonymous donors approached Richard and said, look, if you manage to raise donation 50,000 euro within 24 hours, I will double it. You guess what? We have raised within 7 hours 80,000. 80,000. We have not even started the YouTube online marathon and Twitter broadcasting. We have already got 50,000 euro plus 30,000 plus 50,000 of that anonymous donor. So we have now 130,000 euro for the Ukrainian army. But of course, we are going further, and there is in the description of this video broadcasting, you have a PayPal link. Just send your money there, and we will check with the donor if the donor would be ready to double another 50,000. So we will have not 130,000 overall, but maybe 200,000 for the Ukrainian army. And now, Jake, I want to address you. You are an amazing person, a great friend of Ukraine, and you are famous not only for your amazing insights and your clear voice for Ukraine, but you're a person who has raised once $1 million for your birthday. What was that feeling, and how did you manage to do it like that? That is like something that's legendary.
So back in May, my YouTube community, we fundraised $1.2 million. It was my birthday in May. So the idea was, instead of doing something for me for my birthday, would you please make a donation in support of Ukraine? It just blew up. I think I underestimated how committed my YouTube audience was. So we gave the guys of the 69th Stiffing Brigade a couple months to process, buy, and deliver all the trucks. 4 months later, so this was now 3 weeks ago, we did another fundraiser, and I didn't lowball myself. Like, I told my YouTube audience, I know this is possible. It was a little over 15,000 donors who participated the first time. That got us to 1.2 million. My YouTube videos average around 300,000 views. So only 5% of my viewership actually participated. Now, I know lots of people who watch my channel, they're volunteering or contributing or donating in other ways. People don't have to participate, but I gave the call to action, and within a week, we fundraised another 1.1 million. This is going to, once again, take another couple months to deliver all the drones and trucks, but it just proves that 2.5 years into this war, people are not tired of supporting Ukraine. People are still committed to defending liberal values and Western democracy. Russia will be defeated, and it's just a question of time. Russia can't win this war. Ukraine will have real peace and security.
Absolutely. I think that is a very important thing. Russia will not win this war because people in the West, not our governments, but real people like you and me, they are on Ukraine's side. And if you look at the campaign on PayPal, the link is in the description. You can go through the comments which people leave under their donations. You will see what people write about our Chancellor Scholz, who is just a lazy coward. I can say it as a German citizen. Lazy coward, ridiculous person, absolutely dangerous for Germany, dangerous for Europe, not doing his job correctly. But people understand it. And they say, if I cannot change my government until the next elections in September 25, I can donate money for Ukraine. And that says how much Germans support Ukraine. And I'm proud of my fellow Germans that we support Ukraine as much as possible. Not, as our chancellor said, as long as it takes all this bullshit. No, as much as possible. And now. But we have now, I want to personally welcome like two persons who fought and are fighting for Ukraine. It is Alexei Feti from the 92nd Mechanized Separate Mechanized Brigade, fighting at Kharkiv. Alexei, hi. Great, really happy to see you. And we have Alina Sarnatska, who has retired from the army just recently, a couple of months before, but she served from the 5th March 22, just a week after the full-scale invasion. Alina has volunteered for the Ukrainian army, and she fought for over 2 years on the front line, and was like in all locations which we are afraid just to mention, like Bakhmut and others. And my gosh, Alina, you're a true hero, a true example for me, like an inspiration. You're an amazing person. And you both, you know how much Ukrainian army depends on donations. Alina, what is the situation like? What was it for you? Because now you are a civilian or back, and you also raise a lot of donations. What is the goal of this? What is important for the army?
Okay, I can say about it. I'm Alina. I'm fought dragons for 3 years before full-scale invasion, like you say. I led an ordinary life like a human rights activist, and I was on a PhD student in social work, you know, ordinary life. But I need to join to the army because they want to kill all my family, my friend, and take my hometown, you know. And I joined to the army, and they give me pills, and they give me 100 guys, and they say, now you need to be a doctor. And I was a senior combat medic of the unit, and I was in this position 2 years and a half. And I'm a woman, and you understand, in Ukrainian army, all women collect money because we are sweet and we can to do it, and maybe I think we are smarter. And I collect and I record a video near the front line. I wrote a text on my Twitter, and I speaking with people, and I find something, and I do my best to take something on my unit. You know, it's a territorial defense. We have not anything like we haven't equipment, we haven't like Sergej know this situation because he helped us in this time. And we do all this work because of volunteering and donors. Many of them was foreigners, and it helped us to save our lives, to survive, because without this donut, my unit, we don't will be alive now. We don't survive.
Indeed, and I remember Alina as we first. Okay, I know Alina also from the times before the full-scale invasion, but we went in contact in 22 and late 22, and I asked her, okay, should we just like raise money for some medical equipment, and you gave us a number of devices which you need, like for blood bleeding stopping, etc., which one could only buy in the US. It was like whole logistic operation, how we buy it in the US, how we transport it to Ukraine, and we met in Kramatorsk. And then you said, yeah, like that is important, but gosh, it's so hard to raise donations because it is sometimes looks like Hunger Games. Like you just need to invent some things like to raise donations because the need is so huge. And I was really impressed by what you said. That I never forget it. Never forget it. I cannot hear you. Can you turn on your microphone?
Oh, sorry. Now it's like a competition, you know. Units need to be interesting for the donors, and unit need to do some show to record the interesting video, record how they use some weapon to dance, to sing, to do something interesting. And you know, I'm feeling not so good when I have wounded people and I need to watch to record the video with them. But I understand if I don't do it, if I will be some honor, you know, I haven't any money and some people die, and I do it all the time. I did it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for what you have done. And I also recommend everyone to subscribe Alina's Twitter, and she also runs a very important program on Ukrainian TV, which is in Ukrainian, interviews with military veterans, which is called Suvora Dogana, which is like sounds like a very critical letter, which is the most critical letter which a soldier can get from their commanders. I highly recommend it. Like if you also want to learn Ukrainian, watch Alina's show. It will help. But we have also Fatih from the 92nd Separate Mechanized Brigade, Achilles Battalion. And gosh, Achilles Battalion are the legends. You told me once you use over 3,000 FPV kamikaze drones per month. How do you do it? Like, what is your vision of the operation in Kharkiv? I know that you were the unit which stopped the Russian invasion in Vovchansk, and you have fought the Russians back brutally. Alexei, are you with us? Alexei, I cannot hear you.
Right now?
Oh, yeah, now
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah. So thank you for inviting me and having me here. So I would say that we were not alone who were stopping Russians on a in Kharkiv area. So there are several other brigades and special forces, as far as I remember. And it actually, it was a matter of organization part, how to organize this defense line and how to organize all the work for all unmanned aerial system, I mean drone teams. So we nailed it, as I would say.
Yeah, and your unit is one of the most intensive users of the drones. Can you tell us more about, of course, what you may tell, what you're allowed to tell? Can you tell us more about what is the role of the drones for the front line?
Okay, so first of all, just for you to know, we are the biggest battalion, drone battalions, I would say, because we have, I would say, like the biggest amount of people in a battalion that can fit soldiers, because some battalions, like regular battalion of infantry, are the same size as we are. So we are much more bigger than like any other drone battalion. So that shows the number of drones that we use. Actually, that's why we use them a lot, like 3,000. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, but I would say that in general it's around 3,000 drones per month. We want to increase this number like to 4 or even to $5,000. 5,000 drones, actually, not dollars. But this war is not only about drones, and without all those goggles, chargers, batteries, power banks, generators, all this work is not impossible. So you need to consider that as well, because sometimes people think that when you are given a drone, it will be 100% sure, like hit, but no, it isn't. You need to invest to prepare drones, for example, from guys who are sitting with us from Frontline Kit. We still need to invest around $50 per one drone, or even more.
Absolutely.
Because you need to have zip ties, you need to have electro detonators, and many other things that you need to use that goes with this drone, just like one way.
Absolutely, and I also want to thank everyone who's watching this video. Those who write their comments and questions, please do it. We'll read it. It's not that we miss your questions and you write them into nowhere. Thank you, Dankonu23 for $20 donation, and you said that you have already donated, but that is like another donation of you. Thank you so much. And there are also greetings from Matt Leach Music with a donation of $10. Thank you, everybody. Hello, Sister Anna and Brother Storsky. You are stars. And Lutzman Kolben writes, Slava Ukraini, Heroin Slava. Greetings from Germany. Transpatriotische Grüße, also transpatriotic greetings, and a donation of €100. Thank you so much for your support and for your engagement. And once again, there is a link in PayPal donations in the description of this video, and all the money will go to 92nd, 93rd Brigade, Rubish Brigade, 225th Battalion, and former Battalion of Territorial Defense of Alina Sarnatska, which is personally my favorite. Sorry, Fatih. I don't want to say something bad about your brigade, your legendary battalion, but Alina's battalion was the first for which we raised donations at the European Resilience Initiative Center, and I love it with my whole heart. This battalion, they're real heroes, like all of you. And yes, and we have already, like you said, like we have Richard Woodruff, and may I name like your colleague?
Yes, just first
or
name
just
though.
colleague.
He's very secretive. Secretive
Richard,
German.
I don't hear you. Maybe your
Can you hear me now?
microphone is switched off. I will just check it.
Hello. Oh, now we are?
Yeah,
There we go.
now I hear you. Yes,
Working.
please.
You can call him secretive German Timchik.
Secretive German Timchik.
German Tim and I, we would like to say Alexei is our favorite. Although I was watching Alina's video earlier, the title of which was "No person is made to be on the front line," and I think she's the funniest person out of all of us. Just the first clip where she was talking about how did she decide to join the military, and she was, at the gym one day, and then she was coming home and decided, I'm going to go join the military. And the presenter said, "Really? That's how you joined the military?" And she was like, "No, like I can't say the bad word," but she said a bad word and then told the real story. But yes, her humor is great. So
yeah, and if I may interrupt here, Richard, I love you and I love Timchik. You're amazing guys. I love to meet you every time when I go to Ukraine. And for those who are not familiar, because most of them who follow my Twitter and follow Richard's Twitter Frontline Kid, they know what you do, what you don't do. You don't do drones. But for those who have just joined our stream, Richard came to Ukraine just weeks after the full-scale invasion, and first, he did all humanitarian things, including saving civilians in Kherson Oblast after the Russians have destroyed the dam. And Richard, with two rubber boats, was running around and saving civilians until one of the boats was hit by Russian artillery. And I recommend everyone to watch interview with Richard on our YouTube channel as he describes this feeling of, oh my gosh, they're really shooting us. It's not just random firing. It was really like a wow moment. They really want to kill me. And but now he is a person who delivers all possible drones to the Ukrainian army, also to the 92nd Brigade and 93rd Brigade and all other brigades. And our organization, European Resilience Initiative Center, we help them to do this. And I regularly, every month, I take drones from Richard, which he hasn't yet sent by Nova Poshta, and I bring them to the front line, to Pokrovsk or to Kharkiv or to other regions. So your donations will be invested in these drones, which I will personally take in the boxes packed by Timchik and Richard, put in my core, and go to the front line where they need it most. But Richard, tell me, how did you come to this idea, and what are the most challenges for the usage of drones and for the non-production of drones?
First of all, sorry to all of the listeners that had to listen to the reverberation there. I forgot to mute my mic. The idea, me and Tim were in Lviv looking for the next thing to volunteer at, and our crazy friend Ernest came to us and said, "Hey, why don't we just start a drone factory? Why don't we just start manufacturing these things?" And we had zero idea. And this was November, December. So only 8-9 months ago now. I've zero idea what month we're in. And he brought us one of the best drone pilots in all of Ukraine and said, "Here is a drone, and you're going to make it, take it apart, make it, take it apart until you know how to do it." And fortunately for us, this was one of the best drone builders in Ukraine. So we were taught to do everything perfect the first time round. So much so that when we met people that had been building drones for a year at this point, they were wondering how we got to this level of quality, because they had obviously started without, having a professional from the front lines showing you how to do it. In terms of the biggest challenges, I'll pass over to Tim. What are the biggest challenges in drone building?
So first of all, hello. And
yeah, and can you please move a bit to the center of the picture, because now I can only see your ear. As long as it's not your attempt to remain anonymous, I would appreciate you move to the center of the camera.
Yes. So the biggest challenges are, I'm German, I'm in Ukraine, I don't know how this country works sometimes, and I have to navigate me and the Ukrainian volunteers and other foreign volunteers through this system. I have to buy everything, I have to speak to Ukrainian to people, and I really don't speak Ukrainian, but with our workers it works, but with nobody else. Like we found a way to communicate with them, and it just involves a lot of work. Like if you're not minimum 8-9 hours a day here, suddenly everything stops working. and you start at zero again. But when you really focus and do something, then it works. And the biggest help is talking to the units, because they always have very specific requests, and they were like, I want this, and then we just try to do that. Like, I'm doing this since 6 months with Lexi. Lexi gave me a list and said, please do it like this. I want these parts. I want it done like this. And then I said, okay, yes, we will do this. And it suddenly started working perfectly. And every time we do like a new fundraiser with a new brigade, I do the same thing again. I ask them for what they want, and then we make a product that suits them.
And just to be incredibly clear, a little bit about Tim. Tim was the one that figured out how to do all of this. And when I say figure out how to do this, he was spending 20 hours a day. He was sleeping in our factory just so that he could have a better understanding of how to build drones. And yeah, all through trial and error, all through speaking to people like Alexi, you know, all of these experts, he managed to single-handedly figure out how to operate a drone factory. And now we have, you know, 25 people that are rushing to him every day saying, Tim, I need your help with this. I have no idea, to the man that had no idea himself only 8 months earlier. So mind-blowing stuff, and just true commitment to victory and to Ukraine.
And I want to thank everyone who donate in this stream. First of all, we have already raised via PayPal. We have already raised 89,648 euro. That is almost $100,000 US. And with this 50,000 from the anonymous donor, we have like already like $150,000 and like 140,000 of the. Oh, I see Malcolm Nance has joined us. Welcome, Malcolm. And I will just give me a second. I will add you to the video. And but before I do it, I want to thank everyone who donates, and I want to thank everyone who subscribed to this video channel. And I see that one person has just subscribed as a resilience general, which is, my God, that is the highest, if I'm not mistaken, the highest membership grade. Thank you so much. It is absolutely amazing. Welcome, General. And Cyrilla von Sintra, welcome, General von Sintra, on board. And I want to also to welcome Malcolm Nance, who is a great patriot of Ukraine, and who has fought in the International Legion, and who promotes Ukrainian truth through all the obstacles. And despite all the obstacles, I also highly recommend to watch an interview with Malcolm, which is now the most viewed interview on our channel. And yeah, welcome, Malcolm. You are in Kyiv now, right?
No, I'm not in Kyiv. I'm actually in Albany, New York, at the Ukrainian festival, where we have our congressman is speaking right now at this Ukrainian festival, and we're here with the new International Legion Foundation. And here's our the head of Medical Relief Ukraine, and we are here to bring awareness to the International Legion and the contributions of Americans, French, and people from 52 countries who are fighting in Ukraine right now.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you for what you do. It is absolutely, I would say it in German because I cannot find my words. It's beispiellos. You cannot find an example like what you all guys do, what you do, what Jake Broad does, what Anna from Ukraine does, what Operator Starsky does. You are really fighting for the good cause. And don't forget, there is the whole goddamn evil propaganda machine, Russia Today, TASS, RIA Novosti, Minister Lavrov, Dmitry Medvedev, Telegram channels, all the bots who really attack the truth with all means they can, Russian propaganda networks who try to bribe our politicians, who try to spread fear, who try to do everything to harm not only Ukraine, but the whole Western world. What you guys are doing is absolutely amazing, because you invest your free time, your passion to fight it. And what donors do to support Ukraine is absolutely, absolutely amazing. When you invest, you donate your money for the Ukrainian army. I always say that is not only donation which we give from our money which we have earned or spared. It is also investment in our peace and in peace for our children and for our loved ones. Thank you for this. Anna, we have got this all like good news about how many money we have raised and how many donations come and how strong the Western world normal people support Ukraine. And you do a lot of things to explain Ukraine to the West in your channel. I absolutely adore it. I advise everyone to sign up for Anna's channel. But recently we have seen unprecedented wave. I really want to go to the sad part of this broadcasting. We have seen an unprecedented wave of Russian missile and bombs and drones attacks, and many people died in Ukraine. And Russians used to bombard Ukrainian cities every night for a week in a row, from Kharkiv and Sumy to Lviv, from Kiev to Vinnytsia. How is the mood in Ukraine? Because in Germany, some people, not those good, great guys who donate, but those who say, oh, maybe Ukraine will find peace with Putin. They say, okay, Ukrainians are so tired, they don't want to fight anymore. What do you say, Anna?
Well, I often quote Operator Starsky then. In one of our conversations, he said that at war, if you're tired, you're dead. And you know, we need to win this war. One of the most important and things that I want to demonstrate to the world is that war between Ukraine and Russia is not something new. And literally, if you know a little bit of history from this part of the world without the distorted Russian propaganda messages, you can clearly see that at least 300 years we have problems with Russia. And the majority of people here in Ukraine want to end this war with Ukrainian victory and not pass on this war to other generations. So no one here wants any pauses, any frozen conflicts, any negotiations with world criminals, you know, like there is an international criminal court order to arrest Putin, then how can we negotiate with him? In this recent attacks on Ukrainian cities, even my city that is located in Western Ukraine and is considered to be quite safe was under attack, and an 83-year-old man who was riding his bicycle in one of the districts was killed. So that's the types of people that suffer from Putin, totally different, and from Russian war. And it will continue if it is not stopped and punished. So the only way we can accept peace is after Ukrainian victory. But what I love watching, and it is clearly connected to the mission of our today's streams, is that with each day there are more and more reports about the neutralized military objects inside the Russian Federation. And not only the special military operation to Kursk, but also lots of this, you know, we often call it lessons of Russian geography on the channel, when people around the world discover more of Russian cities and regions based on the destroyed military objects there. And this is important because this demonstrates that Russia can and will be defeated. And the support of the world, the donations and the drones are actually doing this job. And it's amazing to understand that maybe a specific task was performed by a Ukrainian drone neutralizing, let's say, Russian ammunition warehouses, and in the result saving thousands of Ukrainian lives. And that's actually what all the people who donate and who watch us are doing right now. And one of the main messages that I want to underline, to highlight if it's possible, support to Ukraine is extremely valued. It's very important. But even more important is to defeat Russia. And if there is fatigue, if there is anything, it should be associated with Russia, not Ukraine fatigue, Russia fatigue. And our task is to demilitarize Russia. And together with the Ukrainian army of drones, with the determination of good people around the world, we are doing that. And it's actually great when, contrary to those authoritarian countries, we may see that maybe governments are hesitant, governments only express concerns, and people are doing the job. People are donating, buying drones, and saving thousands of Ukrainian lives right now when we are talking. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Anna. It's an amazing speech, and you are always a voice of sanity and of clear formulations. You really like say it very clear what is important, what is not, where we need to focus our efforts, what things we should ignore. And thank you for doing this. I also want to thank all the donors who come into this chat with their donations. Yesenia Saints, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Who has donated $50, Jay, who has donated $50, and other people who bring their donations to this program. And please don't forget, there is a link for PayPal under the description. All money we raise within 24 hours, and now we are approaching the middle of the donation marathon. All money will be donated. You have donated will go to the 92nd, 93rd Brigade, 225 Battalion, Rubish National Guard Brigade, and the Territorial Defense Battalion of Alina Sarnatska. And these guys and girls really need our support. That is what we need to do for them. And Jake, Anna has said important thing about the support from the West for Ukraine. And we are looking now into the situation with the US elections. And many Ukrainians look at the US with hope, but also with fear. They don't know what comes next. Will money come? Will weapons come? Will permission come to strike Russian military objects from where Russian planes stored and kill Ukrainian civilians every day? What do you say about that as an insider who is in the US and who is closely watching the US political agenda?
Unfortunately for the world, the United States right now is in a holding pattern. We've got 50 days until the November 5th election. I'm a huge advocate on my channel that Donald Trump has to be defeated. Donald Trump does not support Ukraine. Donald Trump publicly professes his love for dictators around the world like Kim Jong-un of North Korea. He just, in the presidential debate, says he has a wonderful relationship with Vladimir Putin and they get along great. I don't understand why he thinks that's a positive, to be respected and close friends with a genocidal dictator. So as far as funding for an additional year, we're not going to know what the United States can do until November 6th, the day after. We need to see what the majorities will be for the House of Representatives and the Senate. I pray that Kamala Harris is going to win and democracy in the United States can continue for the next 4 years. It's a battle right now, but my argument is let's win this election and then let's win this war. Your question was kind of two parts. The other one being, will long-range weapons be approved? I think they've already been approved. We're just signaling to the world that this is happening, and it's not the United States escalating, it's Russia escalating. Russia is importing ballistic missiles from North Korea. They've already been doing this. And now Iran. By importing these hundreds of short-range ballistic missiles from Iran, Russia is the one escalating this war. Russia is the one making the world a more dangerous place. So the West, NATO, the United States, has to respond. Giving this approval is a response to what Russia is choosing to do. Russia is doing this to themselves.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you, Jake. You're also a person who always says so clearly, and that's why your channel is also so popular. Highly recommended to everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone knows Jake, but if suddenly you haven't signed yet for Jake's channel, please do it now. And also here I see from General von Sintra, I see a message that möchte einen Dank an Mark Reicher rausschicken. I want to thank Mark Reicher, who has made advertising for this marathon. Yes, indeed, we are absolutely thankful to Mark Raya, who is a person who has supported us and spread word about this marathon, and also spread word about our donation campaign. Jason, actually, I have two questions for you. Like the first one, I wanted you to remember once again how we were riding a Humvee, entering air-conditioned Humvee, by the way, entering Russia without visa. And you are banned in Russia. Like you're not allowed to enter Russia, but you found a way, you sneaky person. But another question is, what do you think about the future Ukraine-related U.S. policy? Imagine Kamala Harris wins. What will she bring with her to the White House?
So I think it's important to note in the U.S. that really it depends, as what Jake said, what comes in the elections very shortly. We have two candidates. We have one who does openly say that the war needs to end at all cost, who has clearly expressed he has no interest of what that means for Ukraine. He seems to have a personal animosity, I would argue, towards Ukraine, as does his vice presidential candidate. And then you have the other candidate. And I don't think that she's perfect either. But comparing them is not even a question. It's night and day. One person is obviously on the side of Ukraine, who has obviously stated that throughout the debates, mentioned that multiple times, and has done a lot already to express that she will do what she can to help Ukraine. And I think that a new administration, that not Jake Sullivan's administration under Biden, but a different administration, would probably be more aggressive. At this state, the White House seems very locked into what they've argued for the past 2 years, unlikely to make big changes. But I think that a new administration, looking at this, looking at the failures that it's provided, might be more willing and more apt to allow Ukraine to do what is necessary to attack within Russia and do what is necessary, more importantly, to win. So far, this White House has failed to make that a policy. It is the policy of the White House to defend Ukraine, to assist Ukraine to defend itself for as long as it takes. It is not the policy of the White House to allow Ukraine to win. And so I am hoping that a Kamala Harris presidency would be one that allows for Ukraine to not only defend itself, but in fact to win.
Absolutely. And I definitely love that everyone in this chat understands the difference between support Ukraine not to lose, which is practically helping Ukraine to slide down into the vortex of defeat, and support Ukraine to win, which involves a military defeat of Russia, which many people think is impossible. Many people who don't know Russia, many people who think they know Russia, many people who have never been to Russia, or only maybe stayed in a 5-star hotel close to the Red Square, like enjoying hospitality of the Russian Kremlin regime. And they don't know what they're talking about. But Ukrainians know Russia can be defeated. Russia is being defeated. Russian army can be beaten. Russian army can be thrown out of Ukraine. Russian army can be beaten on the territory of Russia, which Ukrainians are doing in Kursk now. And that's important to understand, that supporting Russia, as long as it takes, or with all other things, is just a bad way of prolonging this war into Ukrainian defeat. Like, not that obvious, but still bad. And supporting Ukraine with all we have, as much we can now, right now, is the only right way. I also very impressed and want to thank, if I pronounce your name incorrectly, please forgive me, Charkrathop Fongpol, who has donated from Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, 179 Thailand baht. That is a real side of transcontinental, international, global support for Ukraine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Operator Starsky, you are a person who fought for Ukraine in National Guard. You were defeating Russians at the Hostomel airport, which was practically the way to destroy the Russian plans to take Kiev within the first hours. and that was the decisive change in this war. You are a voice of Ukrainian sanity and Ukrainian narratives in Germany. Thank you so much for that, especially for Germany. As a German citizen, I want to thank you. How do you see the German discussion now? We know that some German people who call themselves pacifists, who don't know anything about peace, they want to start a demonstration in Berlin, promoting peace, as they say, demanding stopping of military support for Ukraine and delivering of weapons to Ukraine. Have you ever encountered such people? What do they think? Are they stupid or are they bought by Russia?
First of all, big thanks to all our supporters right now in the chat, guys. You are absolutely amazing. A lot of familiar faces and nicknames here, and also it's a pleasure to speak today together with all those amazing people in our panel. Regarding people in Germany, the support for Ukraine in Germany is absolutely amazing. I didn't expect that. But of course, there's a lot of people who don't really understand the situation. And when we hear such talks regarding like peace at all costs, etc., it's only because Russians who try to legitimize and justify their invasion of Ukraine are investing a lot of money in such messages and such narratives that are later spread on the West. For example, if we're not talking about Germans, but talking about people in the United States, like there are people who say that the hardcore politicians on the West, let's not name them, Trump. I'm really happy that, you know, this meeting is going to take place in Berlin for a simple reason. It's a good opportunity to remind those people East Berlin is his next target. So, considers reunite the former USSR controlled lands and territories, and this includes Eastern Germany as well, together with a chunk of Berlin. It's a good opportunity to also tell them that whatever you're protesting for today may turn into a disaster for you and your families tomorrow. And nowadays, nobody even have like any illusions about Putin, being a peaceful and democratic and strong rule. No, he's a terrorist. Everybody knows that. Europe is currently preparing for the upcoming Russian invasion of European countries, of Baltic countries, of Poland, of Germany as well. And we should talk about it as much as possible, because the message Russia is not the enemy is probably the most popular message on Twitter nowadays. This is something that we should understand. Russians invest a lot of resources, a lot of money into waging their disinformation, their propaganda on the West, in European countries, in Germany, and this is really dangerous for a simple reason. This psyops that is being waged, that is being conducted on the territory of Europe, including Germany, is prepared by Russian military personnel, because psyops is a military structure, element of any military plan. And this only means that there is a military plan for destroying democracy in the European Union and in the United States as well. Nothing happens just because. Everything happens because there is a plan.
That is absolutely what is important to understand. And once again, like when I studied political science, and a part of political science is a study of history, and I learned how the world acted during the World War II. And I know there is never the same analogy. Like every situation is different, but when we look at how the so-called pacifist movement in the West, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, but first of all, the United States, misunderstood Adolf Hitler in 1940s, early 1940s, and the end of 1930s. It reminds me so much of the current situation, and we knew how it came to what level of war this reluctancy led back then. And it is really strange to see that today no one wants to learn from the history, but everyone just believes it is fine and will be okay with that. Absolutely disgusting to see that. But coming further, like to the case of Ukrainian resilience, which we know Ukraine is the most resilient country in the world, maybe, like fighting the largest army with endless tanks, like which are coming to end now because of Ukraine. All the tanks which Russia produced, Soviet Union produced after World War II, in storage, then thousands and thousands in Siberia, in Ural Mountains, on all these bases. Russia sends them to Ukraine now, and the Ukrainians just destroy them one by one. Thank you, Fatih, for doing this, and thank you, Richard, for producing devices to help Fatih. And we know that Ukraine is resilient, but what are the reasons of the Ukrainian resilience of this society, which stands for their values and fights Russia back? Before I ask the Ukrainians, I definitely know the answer. I want you, Jake, to think what you think about that as an observer from the foreign country.
Centuries of oppression is what motivates them. I think this myth of Slavic brothers, getting along and loving each other, blah, 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 it's always been Kremlin propaganda to subjugate the neighbors of Moscovia. I don't think the people of this region have appreciated how they've been treated by the Kremlin the last 300, 400 years. So this is Ukraine's best opportunity to break away from Russian dominion forever. They thought they got their independence in 1991, but Putin's trying to undo that deal, redraw the lines, reabsorb and Russify the people. And I've been shocked. As an American, I was ignorant of how bad it was inside most of Russia. You get the propaganda of, flourishing St. Petersburg and the clean city of the capital of Moscow, but seeing these clips and seeing these soldiers coming from the lesser cities, the forgotten cities, the rural provinces, Russia is terrible, just horrible. And there's no reason why people in Ukraine looking east into Russia and then comparing that with looking west into Europe would want to go back to being under the control of the Kremlin.
That is, of course, what we know. Ukrainians are doing. They know very well what Russians do to them, and also those who believed until the full-scale invasion that Russians will not do bad things because there are so many relations to Russia. Because they are not like we are, but they are still fine. They will not do terrible things. It's 21st century. They now know very well what the Russians did to Mariupol, to Bakhmut. To other cities, to Avdiivka, to Chasiv Yar, to Vovchansk, to Bucha, to Irpin, you name it. Anna, I'm really every time when I ask Ukrainians about this, I feel the very bad person because I try to find an emotional response, and it's bad to do it because I'm an observer from outside and you're inside, and I ask you about the things which are painful for you. But still, to make our audience understand what it's about. What is your feeling now with after more than 2.5 years of the war? Where is the hope?
I did not clearly understand the last part of the question. After 2.5 years of war,
Where is the hope?
the hope.
Yes, yes.
I was one of those, like, knowing Ukrainian history, being a student at school already in the times of independent Ukraine, and knowing there were other Russian war crimes before, Mariupol, Holodomor, or, for example, Baturin massacre that took place in 1709. Knowing it all, I was still hoping that the full-scale war is impossible, and all because of this, normalcy bias. That's why actually many people in healthy democracies still believe some of Russia propaganda messages, because they cannot imagine the depths of lies, the level of fakes that Russia presents on this state level, that they can literally lie about everything, the number of tanks they have, the number of money they have, and the plans they build for tomorrow. And when it all began, it was definitely a life-changing experience. And once again, there's so many details, even in everyday life, that change. And I try to depict that in my videos. And sometimes when traveling abroad, only then I'm able to realize, oh my God, how not normal our life is. That, like, there are lots of things that we keep in our minds, like air raid alerts, curfews, and other stuff. And all these applications on the mobile phones that remind you, oh, it's just MiG flying, it's not a ballistic missile, so maybe you can continue, I don't know, shopping, which is insane. And it is already a part of our normalcy, which is wrong, and it's not good. And part of Russia's plan on this exhaustion war is actually that more and more Ukrainians either flee Ukraine after these waves of terror and attacks on civilian infrastructure on country, will get used to this air raid alerts, will ignore them, will die in hundreds and thousands, and somehow they will take the totally destroyed lands, because they actually do not occupy territories. They destroy the land, they burn everything, and simply drop 100 cabs per week and then get a meter, which is once again crazy, violent, and describes Russia the best way. But one of the greatest discoveries, especially of the first days of war, and it continues until now, is this unity of Ukrainian people. And believe me, no one plans to surrender or give up, with support or without support. Of course, we pray, we hope, we do our best to persuade the world it's worth investing. And I will not say in Ukraine, I will say once again in the defeat of Russia. We invest our people, we invest our land as a battlefield. No one wanted that. Just a war ago, like 2.5 years ago, I was without all of this experience, and I liked it more, trust me. So we definitely do not want this war to expand to other territories, like physically, and also it will be felt everywhere, in Australia and on the moon, if it continues. And people are very determined. Of course, there are waves when we are more optimistic, when we are more pessimistic. And this Kursk cooperation, at least in my surrounding, definitely add up more optimism. Often people who are far away from Ukraine, who know little about Russia's brutality, they start saying, oh, you will get new attacks, that must be a bad answer. These attacks are coming whether we are fighting or not. Russia invaded Ukraine, breaking international laws without any reason, if it's possible to say so. Like, there were no biolaboratories, unfortunately no NATO bases in Ukraine. They simply want to restore this crazy Soviet Union. They are afraid of normal, imperfect, but growing democracies close to the borders of this fake empire. And one of the things that people do not discuss enough, I think, when talking about the appeasement of Putin about some peace deals is that Putin himself actually does not want peace. It's not in his plan. And even if he agrees to freeze this conflict for some of his friends elsewhere, it is just a brief pause before he continues, because to stay at power, to explain the misery of Russia, he needs wars. He needs constant arguments, enemies are everywhere. They never analyze problems inside. Even after the attack on Kursk and the advance of Ukrainian army there, you will not find any Putin's interviews or comments where he tries to at least give a couple of sentences. What were the mistakes of Russian defense? What were the reasons? They constantly pretend everything goes according to the plan. So this country is totally fake. It must be defeated. And Ukrainians are determined to do that, with or without support. But of course, it's a million times better to do with the support. And I'm very grateful to everyone who does it, be it with money, be it with your skills or knowledge, or even conversations that are held on the streets when people want to remain, like persuading those who want to remain neutral. So for us, the majority of Ukrainians are convinced we will win this war. But all the delays, all the doubts, they cost us not time, they cost us not inches of the territory. Unfortunately, they cost lives of the best people of Ukraine. On the Russian side, these are miserable invaders. On the Ukrainian side, these are the best people who volunteered and who agreed to fight. And we need them. And by getting more drones, by allowing Ukraine to strike back, we actually save these lives. There are lots of lives on the news. We unfortunately learn about the victims, the casualties, those killed, and their stories are heartbreaking, and this could have been avoided. But there are already lots of lives that you guys have already saved. People don't know that. They remained sleeping in their houses because that missile was stopped by an air defense, and that air defense worked because you, I don't know, wrote constant emails to your representative, and he decided, okay, let's do it. And that's an instrument that we can enjoy in the democratic world and what we are fighting for.
Absolutely, Anna. Thank you for your clear words. And I want to say first, these guys, girls who say like we're not moderating the chat, very sorry, we've been overwhelmed, but now we have a moderator added, and he will just wipe out the Russian trolls. And you know, Russian trolls are nasty. They are like I don't know, like sneezing in a subway in winter. Like you cannot avoid sneezing passengers. And these trolls are sneezing deliberately. They just come around and oh yeah, I want to spread my toxins, my Russian propaganda. So now we have a great moderator in the chat who will just wipe them out like a good policeman does normally. And I want to thank everyone who donates. Alexander Weingart, who has donated €200, and who said, I am sure the drone pilots know what to do with the money. I wish them all the best from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And I guess like with your name, maybe you're a German and the nation's in Europe. So I guess you're either German or an Austrian. Dankeschön für diese Spende. Das ist wirklich wunderbar. Das ist was der Ukraine wirklich hilft. And that is a real sign of solidarity. Not the Chancellor Scholz is a person who represents Germany, not other politicians who are so reluctant, but the real folks who donate their money and who help Ukraine. And while like we are talking about all these things, like why do people get into the traps of the Russian propaganda? Why they do this? Of course, some of them are just deceptive, but some politicians really want to do it, don't they? What do you think, Jake? What do you think, Jason? Who of you, like you are experts in the political development in the West? What do you think?
Jason, you go first.
Thanks, Jake. It's interesting why people fall for what they do, but there's a lot of things we see in common. Is that those who are most susceptible are actually not those who support Russia. It's going to be those who lose interest and become dispassionate and lose an interest to learn more. There's just so much information that comes out every day that people can't keep up with it. And if they're overdosed with other information or conflicting narratives about what's occurring in Ukraine, it becomes too clear, and they don't want to learn more. The more that they think that there's Russian speakers who are being persecuted that might be being saved, or there might be Nazis, or there might be one of a dozen things that Russia says, it just becomes too much work to learn the details. What's really going on? Who's really behind it? It's just too much. And so people ultimately lose interest and become disconnected. And if you look at polling in the United States, it is interesting is that the vast majority of Americans do support Ukraine. When you ask secondary questions to try to understand what it is they understand about the conflict, it's rather quite limited. And I think that if we look at those who are openly presenting pro-Russian talking points at this point in the United States, what they have in common is, generally speaking, it's like J.D. Vance. He's never once said he supports Russia. He has simply said that Ukraine's really not our problem. We've got other interests that we have to defend. There's other things here in America we should focus on. And he said a number of things that would be sympathetic to Russia, but he's never openly said that he supports Russia. And that's going to be the vast, vast majority of people who are against Ukraine today. It's not because they support Russia. It's because they just don't care about Ukraine. And so the question is, how is it that you can make sure, despite the wide diffusion of information that is trying to dissuade them from doing so, that people either gain an interest or perhaps maintain an interest in what is occurring in Ukraine and make sure that they are not being misled? Well, let Jake give his opinion as well. What do you think, Jake?
I think for the average person, they're just distracted by their own lives. They've got to make sure their kids get to school on time, and they've got to pay their bills. So the average person, if I could one-on-one sit down with an individual for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes and talk to them, I can probably convince them. But that's just an amount of time that the average person isn't going to take. So the goal of Russian propaganda is to just overwhelm and confuse people. You put out conflicting stories, you put out conflicting narratives, you put out disinformation so that people, average people, feel over. And when your brain becomes overwhelmed, you have to tune it out. And that's all the Russians want. They want people apathetic. They want people disengaged. They want people confused about what's the truth. Are there actually Nazis in Kyiv? Why do people keep repeating that there are Nazis in Kyiv unless maybe there's a couple Nazis in Kyiv? So, I think I don't know if Hitler actually said this, but if you just make the lie big enough and repeat it, eventually people start to believe it. So I put out noise in the other direction, trying to give perspective and truth. I wish there were more people like me, and I wish there were more people watching channels like mine or Anna's or Operator Starsky's. But to the average person, what Russia is doing is indefensible. Blowing up a children's hospital in Kyiv. That was the #1 news story in the world for a day. And to the average American, that's horrifying. Even if it was an accident, even if there are Nazis in Kyiv, how do you justify blowing up a children's hospital? So the average person in America, doesn't support Russia. J.D. Vance does, but he can't publicly say that. He's running for vice president of the United States. So yeah, there's so many conflicts here. It's so entangled. It's so complicated. I try to simplify things. I try to clear things up. And I do think that Russia is losing the information war. The longer this goes on, you can't justify everything that continues to happen. So even Russia is willing to change the narrative, saying we need a peaceful settlement now will save Ukrainian lives. Let's just freeze the conflict. This is what J.D. Vance said in an interview this week. This is Trump's plan. Freeze the current front lines. Russia gets to keep everything they've taken. We'll create a new DMZ, and then everything's fine. Ukraine promises neutrality forever and no more reason for a war, right? Fundamentally understands why the war began in the first place. It wasn't about NATO aggression or NATO expansion. It was just about Putin wanting his empire back. He wants to control the people and the resources of the former Soviet republics in perpetuity forever. Russia just wants their empire back, and they're not getting it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is what is absolutely important. Russia, for Russia, it's not about like protecting Russian-speaking minority or what Putin loves to say, or it's about territory and recreating the empire. That's all about. But what I want to say, first of all, thank you everyone who donates in the chat, and thank you everyone who watched this video stream. Thank you everyone who subscribes to the European Resilience Initiative Center video podcast. You are amazing, and we have a very special announcement right now. We have just hit 99,000 euro donated via PayPal. 99,000 donated via PayPal. So first, I want to hear from you, Alina, because your unit will get 1/5, like 20%. We have 5 units. Your unit will get 20% of the donations, and we have now like almost 150,000 euro with the 50,000 donation. What do you think about it? What will be what will your friends from the battalion will say? Will they believe that Germany supports Ukraine?
I thank you so much. I told my combat, and he say, "Oh, you're a good girl. Thank you." You know, he never give me something like it, and I very proud. And I thank you. We have we buy drones, and we kill many enemies, and we stay. My colleagues stay near the Kurakhove. It's a very bad situation near this city, and they need your support. And I thank you so much. I'm so proud to be in the stream and about this support.
I really I cannot thank you, First Alina. I really cannot understand how someone can address you as a girl. Like you are such a hero. You can wipe a floor with 99% of people. Like you have spent like 2.5 years in the trenches. You've seen everything. You've saved so many lives as a medic, as a combat medic. We have donated so many equipment for you, like drones to find the wounded people and equipment to save lives, stop bleeding. You have saved, like they say, like every doctor has its own cemetery. I say combat medics have their own endless lines of generations they have saved. It's like in Oscar Schindler's movie. You saved one life, you saved the whole world, and you have saved dozens and hundreds of lives. I really cannot say anything more. You're a true hero. You're a true hero. But Richard, tell me first, will we address our mysterious anonymous donor and tell them, look, can you double another 50,000?
Oh, the microphone's working. I was hoping it wasn't going to work at this point. But yes, I will have words now. I promised our wonderful Sergej Sumlenny that once we hit the 100,000 mark, our anonymous donor might have a larger surprise for us. But just to be clear, you said to Alina just then, how does it feel, that 100,000? But it's actually 150,000 so far. So
yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Unbelievable. And I think we do need to shout out, of course, the incredible Brennpunkt community. And this is all coming from that incredible German community that has raised, you know, hundreds upon thousands, if not $1 million for the Ukrainian cause. And I feel like you're about to show the screen, Sergej. What's happened?
Yes, exactly. You know me too good. You know me too good, Richard. I'm about to show you the screen. And oops, to the center. Hello, can we see it now? Yeah. Better. Yes, now.
So,
Henry.
I don't know why Tim is smiling right now, because he understands, and Fatty understands the amount of work that is now going to be going on. There are going to be sleepless nights, and I don't know if you know this, but no one gets paid. So Tim is about to be spending 20 hours a night once again in the factory, kicking some ass, producing some drones for these wonderful brigades on the front lines. And yeah, so not only thank you to the Brennpunkt UA community, everyone follow them on Twitter, but just all of you guys that came together for this stream. I mean, just think about what you've done tonight, just in the space of a couple of hours. 150,000 euros for the Ukrainian troops on the front, you know, and 100% of it's getting to them. So I'm
It is
overwhelmed with emotion.
absolutely.
So thank you guys. I love you. Seriously, you're just.
It is absolutely incredible. And once again, we have already 102,000 euro donated directly to PayPal. Well, and 50,000 from the anonymous donor. We hope he will donate like another 50,000. And we have 1,000 donations here through YouTube. So it's amazing. It's really amazing. And once again, Richard, I think I really want to join very clear your words. Brand.ua or Brand.ua, as you say in English version. An amazing person who has raised so much money for Ukraine, who has organized so many campaigns for Ukraine. Only with the European Resilience Initiative Center, this organized donation €1,000, and a huge part of these €500,000 came through his activities. I really want to thank this person who stays behind many donations campaign. These donations campaign save human lives, and it's not a joke. It's saving human lives. We're not playing games. Of course, it brings us a kick, emotional kick. Oh, we raised that much money. We've done that work, that thing. But it is about saving lives, saving Ukrainian lives, saving people from death. It's absolutely incredible. Fatih, tell me, if we come like further to the future situation on the front, what is the situation in Kharkiv where you are being stationed, if I'm not mistaken?
Actually, it's not true. So right now we are like separated on different areas, and it's not only Kharkiv. Yeah. So this has been a part of the army. You need to be ready to move anytime our commands need. So I don't know if I'm allowed to tell a lot about that, but just like we are operating in different areas right now.
Okay, but what is, without going into details, how do you assess the situation on the front? Like, or like, speaking with other focus, many people said in the West, okay, Kursk is good, but what about Pokrovsk? Pokrovsk was practically lost to the Russians. What is the goal of the Ukrainian army? What is the mood in the Ukrainian army? Are the Ukrainian soldiers disappointed, or are they happy, or what do they think about all these development on the front line? If you may say this, of course. If you cannot, just tell me so.
So first thing that I will tell is that soldiers are not allowed actually to argue about commander's decisions. So we can't actually speak like in public about what do we like or what don't we like. That's the first thing. The second, you will always have haters on any decisions. Like in the beginning, as far as I remember, just like in the beginning of Kursk campaign, people were like, "This is gonna be shit because it came out of sudden and no one was prepared for that." And just like, hey, it worked. So there is no need to rush with with reports or spreading information about something is bad or terrible. That's the first thing. The second thing, like for a soldiers, for regular people, it's still like a city or hometown, or people who lived there and get their like early years of life. So it's, of course, it's super sad to hear about that Pokrovsk or other nearby city will fall off to Russians. But the problem for some generals or higher commands, it's still a point on a map. And looking from a map perspective, they are also kind of right, because like in general we are losing our lands, but just like with not that pace as Russians said in the beginning. It's not Kiev on 3 days. So we are standing here and we are taking our time to recover and strike back. This is what will happen for sure, and I'm pretty sure that every city will be brought back to Ukrainian flag. I'm pretty sure about that. This is what we have.
What do you think, Operator Starsky? You have like experience on the ground.
What was the question? I'm sorry. I was banning the trolls with a ban hammer. Once a cop, always a cop.
Okay, you were like cleaning the after like cleaning trenches. You came to cleaning trolls, and the enemies decide. Thank you for everything you do. The question was, what are the future goals of the Ukrainian army, and how can the future development on the front line look like? And yeah, please see the Tosia Richard's dog is on the screen. Richard, can you show us Tosia before Operator Starsky starts answering the question?
Oh my God!
Turn on the microphone so you will be switched on in a larger screen, and we will see Tosia.
I cannot apologize to Operator Starsky any more than my dog taking over the camera show for 5 seconds there. I prefer to listen to your beautiful words, but here is Tosia. She's looking a bit guilty because she's just ate a load of chicken bones. She ravaged the bin whilst we were on the live stream. She was very smart. She realized it was unguarded and decided to cause some trouble. So I hope she's going to be okay, but bit sorry for herself. Anyway, back to you, Operator Starsky.
Thank you so much. There's also this beautiful cat that Alina has. I'm admiring. I had the same cat when I was a small kid. What's his name?
This is Busa. She's from Irpin, and his mother was lost on Irpin, and she hate everyone. I think it's because Russians, Russians bomb and something.
Oh my God, we are zemляки, practically.
Yeah.
Regarding the next steps for Ukraine, there are two, I would say, main strategic steps for the armed forces of Ukraine to complete. First of all, is to organize in conducting proper analysis and involving proper resources, organize proper defense line. And then, again, conducting proper analysis and involving proper resources, organize the effective counteroffensive. I cannot talk much about it because, unfortunately, I am not a general. I'm a Hamel captain, and I don't have all the information required to tell you exactly what we need. There's a lot of different experts invited to studios who know more than me. But from my standpoint, two main steps that we need right now is organize proper defense, and then prepare for the proper counteroffensive that would involve combined troops, that would involve long-range weapons. Unfortunately, we cannot talk much about the proper counteroffensive while we don't have, I would say, 3/4 of necessary weaponry that is required. That is tactical aviation, that is attack aircraft, that is, again, long-range weapons, and things like that. But one thing that we need right now on the first place is organized proper defense. Without this and without introducing mobilization measures, in introducing new weaponry, unfortunately, we will see such things as those things happening in Pokrovsk right now. Unfortunately, repeating in other areas. That is just my personal opinion. Again, I am not a general. I cannot talk about this from like on a strategic level, but that's what I can see as a military.
It is absolutely fascinating what you are saying, Operator Starsky. And I just have an announcement. Now, please return to your duties as a moderator, because you're so good in doing this, not only in explaining Ukraine to Germany and Germany to Ukrainians, but also in moderating, like defeating trolls. We have now got already 102,000 raised directly via PayPal. That means we have 152,000 euro raised for the Ukrainian army, including this donation of the guy who will double the first 50,000. We are still in negotiations with them. Richard is my witness that he will just add another 50,000. So we will have not 150,000 by now, which we have, but we will have like 200,000 euro within 8 hours, 29 minutes. Is it madness? Is it madness? It is. Speaking about the future development on the front line and what Ukraine needs to defeat Russia, Jake, what do you think? What is the winning strategy for Ukraine for this year? Like, I think pretty everyone believes that the war will go further into 2025. It will not end this year. But what are the goals for Ukraine? The best case scenario until Christmas 24, and I don't say the worst case scenario, but the most challenging one.
Well, Ukraine has actually achieved a lot with this invasion of Kursk. We've broken the myth of these Russian red lines that can't be crossed. So this has unlocked a lot of problems for the Russians. Now that Ukraine can use Western donated weapons to strike inside of Russia, we're confident this week or the next, long range precision weapons will also be approved. This is a disaster for Russia. And I just want to remind everyone this was Russia's fault, their own stupidity, reinvading Kharkiv back in May, when they don't even claim that Kharkiv belongs to Russia. But as far as getting through this year, we're going to see what the benefits are to Ukraine's strategy going after oil depots and refineries. This is a decision that the Ukrainian military made in January, that they were going to aggressively go after Russia's oil refining capacity. You need oil to operate a war, but also to run your country and your economy. And it gets pretty damn cold in Russia in the wintertime. So I want to see what the results are of this plan that's been developing over the last 9 months. How is Russia going to fare this winter without the required amounts they need of diesel, kerosene, gasoline, and other refined oil products? So I'm hoping we see some kind of economic or political breaking. In my mind, this war isn't going to end until Russia runs out of money. As long as Russia still has gold reserves and a wealth fund that they are rapidly depleting to buy the components and materials they need from international actors around the world, we're going to find out pretty soon, I think. So what does Ukraine need to do? And they just need to keep holding the line. Honestly, it's a gift. Every time Russia goes on the offensive and they waste men and material, thinking that, if Trump wins, they'll be able to keep everything they take before November, they're exhausting themselves. And it's a war of attrition. And we're going to find out this winter if Russia has a breaking point.
Absolutely. And Jason, you as a person who has seen Russia's breaking point, we have passed, you and me together, a destroyed Russian checkpoint on the border between Ukrainian Sumy region and Russia's Kursk region. What do you think about all the things like, what do you think about Ukraine's strategy, like hitting Russian refineries, hitting Russian, Russian power stations? you stayed in Ukraine all the years, all the 2 years of Russia's invasion, and you know that Ukrainian spirit was not broken. And once again, we see that Russians start to like shout, "Oh, how can we fight when like one little drone hits the precious power plant?" It doesn't mean that the Russians are made out of like a sort of different material, and they can be broken much easily. Is it because they don't see the value in their state? Because they don't see their citizens of their state? How do you assess that?
So that's a good question. I mean, I think it is interesting when you talk, as you and I did talk, to people in Kursk, Russia. Yeah, I think this is actually probably one of the most fascinating things that's happened to me in the last couple of years, is talking to Russians inside of Russia. And you yourself saw very well that there was no animosity whatsoever from the side of the Russians. They were not scared of the Ukrainian soldiers, which I think is a very important aspect. There was not fear of the Ukrainian soldiers. Conversely, when Russians occupy a Ukrainian city, people should be afraid. When Ukrainians come, there's no reason to be afraid. And they were happily conversing with the soldiers. It was also quite fascinating is that the Russian soldiers, as you saw, the Russian citizens, as you saw, at least a couple of them spoke in Ukrainian to us, which was by itself fascinating. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian soldiers spoke to us in Russian. But it was, I got to say that I think that there's a reason that the local Russian population is not scared of the Ukrainians, which is that the Ukrainian side has never shown a sign of aggression. Ukraine doesn't invade other countries. In the past 30 years, it's a peaceful country. It does not present a threat to anybody in the world, least of all to Russia. And so this, I think that Russians themselves, in their deeper hearts, perhaps they don't want to recognize it, and outwardly they won't, but in their deeper hearts, I think they realize this is just absurd. This entire war that their dictator has taken them down. And overall, this is something I think that is going to lead to Russia's downfall for a number of reasons in a lot of different ways, but I think largely for economic reasons. And I think that's how the war will end, actually. It's due to Russia's economy not being able to that it's been facing, which are getting more and more grave every day. Just yesterday, the key interest rate moved to 19 percentage points, which is extremely high, extremely high. It's like a low-level African country at this point, if you were to put it on the list of where it is in the world as far as interest rates go. Real interest for business might move to 30 to 35% in the near term. 30 to 35% interest rate for a business loan is just incredible. Their economy can't sustain it. So I think that Russia will eventually lose. About that, I'm absolutely certain. The question is, how will it lose? And the more that we can get done at this point to pressure Russia economically, not just militarily, but also economically, also politically, the better. But I think that Russians know they do not have the inner strength or the desire to continue fighting. And the recruitment numbers in Russia show that. When you're paying people in Moscow or in the Moscow region $20,000 bonus to join the military, it's staggeringly high. But you also look at who these people are. How many of them are actual ethnic Russians from Russia? Small number. Increasing numbers that are coming from Central Asia and other migrant groups who are just hard up for money. They don't believe in it ideologically. And that's actually important, I think, for the military as well. Soldiers who are in it ideologically have a reason to fight. They know why they're fighting. Somebody's there to get paid is there to get paid. When it's no longer in his interest to be there, he leaves. And I think that the Russian military will show more and more fractures and more breaks soon as the soldiers are unwilling to just be sent off the meat grinder.
Indeed, absolutely. And I see that Jake Braw has left the broadcasting. I guess like he had like some urgent things. Like I couldn't see him in the chat because like my app doesn't let me to do it. But once again, Jake, if you will not come back, thank you so much, mate. You are a real legend, and thank you for your contribution to this program with all your insight and your support and with sharing links and with bringing your audience who are absolutely top persons, top people who love Ukraine, who are interested in Ukraine, who support Ukraine, not only with their words, but with their deeds and with their donations. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely, totally, endlessly thankful to every person who donates any amount of money. There is no such thing as a small donation. You donate €1, $1, you donate $1,000. It is the money which helps Ukraine. And if enough people donate also very small amounts, which they donate from their money, it's their life. If you want to see it that way, it's their time they invested in their work, and they have earned this money, spending their life working, and then they donate this money to a country which they have maybe never visited before and never knew about existence before the full-scale invasion and genocide. I'm absolutely thankful to all of you who are doing this. You are people who really let me and many others believe in humankind. Absolutely amazing. And once again, thank you to a person who's not here, but who helped so much to organize this donation campaign and other donation campaigns. Brand.ua or Brand.ua, a great person who is personally responsible for hundreds of thousands of euro raised in Germany, and not only for the Ukrainian units and for the Ukrainian civil society and civilians. Absolutely amazing person. Thank you so much. But when we talk about what is going on, Richard, you are in a city in Lviv. I'm sorry for having disclosed your location, but you post so many videos from Lviv that it's not a secret anymore. And your city, yeah, and your city has been hit recently by Russian missile attacks for the first time since over a year. I think civilian residential area has been hit. I remember it was in 23 in summer, in July, I believe, or in June. One house has been hit in Striska Vulitsa, and now like several houses hit my personal friends, like worry on those who were victims of the attack, and because they're still in hospital. How does it feel to understand that Lviv is not safe anymore?
I think the hardest bit is just seeing that man who his whole family, his wife was killed, his kids were killed, and that is the thing since the beginning of the war. And although I've become very numb to death being in Ukraine for the past 2.5 years now, it is the death of young children that completely breaks me into a million pieces. And we now are doing everything possible on the ground to rebuild the homes there. We've actually had a load of our volunteers that are normally building drones. They are now on site with these families rebuilding the homes. And thanks to Ernest, he went around to every single one of these homes and found the people that were the really vulnerable ones, and the ones where their husbands were fighting on the front lines, or they were medics actually for Alina. So these people that are giving everything to their country, their homes are destroyed, and now we're going in there to repair everything. But that was not your question. Your question was, how does it feel to have a missile strike here, and do we feel safe? And to be honest, in Lviv, you still feel safe. You know, it's being in Lviv, it's being in Kyiv, it's this understanding that life is strangely going on, but what are we going to be like those people on the internet that say, oh, unless every Ukrainian is crying all the time and, you know, staying in their homes, then there is no war going on. And we need something to continue to live and to fight for. But geez, I mean, as you know, I was in Kharkiv, and as those Iskander missiles were coming down, and I sent you, Sergey, the video, we were in the top floor, the ninth floor of the Soviet apartment block, and there were 12 plus Iskander missiles coming down in every single direction. And you just stand there and you forget that it's not a dream and it's not a movie, and that every single one of these missiles that is landing around you and you see the smoke coming up is people dying. And yeah, we're just so fortunate in Lviv that it's kind of like a once in a war scenario. Yeah, just obviously absolutely horrendous, but nothing compared to the front lines of Ukraine. These frontal cities are under constant barrage. And I guess the scariest thing is these missiles coming from Iran now, these missiles coming from North Korea. They will be of a shorter range, and so therefore all these frontal cities are going to be completely wiped off the map unless the states, unless America turns around and gives us the ability to strike where these missiles will be fired from. But yeah, to answer your question, in Lviv, we're still feeling safe. We're working away and just trying to help these people and your friends in Lviv be able to rebuild, because they shouldn't be paying to rebuild their homes. And yeah, I know you're currently very kindly running a donation campaign separate to the drones at the moment for us, which means that we're actually able to rebuild these homes. So thank you very much for that. And our volunteers will continue working every day for free to rebuild these homes. Yeah. I don't know if
Indeed.
you have any follow-up question.
Indeed, absolutely. And for this campaign, which we're running parallelly for the Frontline Kit, helping you guys to rebuild Lviv, already raised, if I'm not mistaken, 20,000 or something like that. And this is amazing sign of support, that people do not only support army, they support humanitarian, purely humanitarian means for the civilians, but every single mean is what the world wants to help Ukraine with. And I want to say here, North Scene sends a $2 donation, but I think only to raise the attention. Thank you so much to the message. 90 euro via PayPal donated. Razом ми переможемо. Together we will win. Absolutely, like another 90 euro for Ukrainian cause. And I also want to quote message by Fundraising, if I'm not wrong with the pronunciation. Remember the stolen children. Indeed, that is what many people already forgot. Russia has stolen hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian children, re-educating them, learning them to hate Ukraine, brainwashing them, adopting them to families, erasing their identity, forging their birth certificates, like making wrong dates, wrong names, wrong places of birthplace. If children are pretty young, they will never know their identity. Russia is really stealing Ukrainian future. And this is being done also because the world allowed Russia to continue this war. But the last thing I wanted to add here before I will ask another question, Richard, you have mentioned this case when you were in Kharkiv 2 weeks ago, I think, yes? And you saw the Iskander missiles, Russian ballistic missiles, raining from the sky on Kharkiv residential area, destroying the whole blocks. And you sent me a message. We are in Kharkiv and it's raining Iskanders, 15 missiles or 14 missiles hitting simultaneously. And you know where I've been in that moment? I've been in Prague at the GlobSec conference. And I was in a hall listening to Mikhail Khodorkovsky, Russian oligarch, not a friend of Putin, leader of Russian liberal opposition. And Mikhail Khodorkovsky, sitting on the podium, was the only person speaking Russian, because he doesn't want to speak English in an international conference. He wants to speak Russian. And he was making a message, like, I nearly quote him, you will have to learn to live with Russia, because there is no way to live in Europe without Russia. You are talking now about defeat of Russia, that alienates Russians. You're talking about, and that was a lie, a pure lie. He said that the West fighting a war against every single Russian person wanting to raise Russian identity, Russian nation. That is a lie. Nobody in the West wants to do it. What the West, the good people in the West want to do is to eliminate Russian imperial threat, to make Russia incapable to kill thousands and millions of people. Nobody wants to raise Russian nation. They can live whatever they want. They want Russia to stop genociding other people. And Mikhail Khodorkovsky was talking this genocidal, chauvinistic, imperialistic bullshit from the podium in Prague. In this moment, I got a message from Richard, who is in Kharkiv, being bombarded and genocided by the Russian missiles. That was such a terrible contrast. Having like Karam Murza in the workshop, telling how terrible it was for him and how the world must be solidarized with the Russian opposition, having other people, and that's really terrible, really terrible. Anna, what do you think? Why is the West so obsessed with the Russians, but not thinking
Well,
about what they bring?
first of all, I realize that Russia was lucky to inherit propaganda machine from Soviet Union, and Soviet Union actually took a lot from former Russian Empire. They rebrand everything around the Kremlin, but in reality, they use the majority of same like messages. Russian Empire wanted to destroy Ukraine and lots of other countries, nations, languages, cultures. Soviet Union continued that, and now Russian Federation. Whatever name they take, they continue their imperial project. And at the same time, we have to be honest that the majority of people outside this part of the world, I don't want to use this Russian terminology, West, collective West, but in reality, the majority of these people know nothing about this part of the world, all because of the Iron Curtain that existed for decades, all because of Russian dominance in media. And that's why the image of Russia is very distorted and very wrong. Actually, many people looking at the map of the Russian Federation clearly see it all as Russia, when in reality, the Federation consists of 22 national republics and Russia is just one of them. Many of these countries, culturally, linguistically, religiously, are very different from Russia. And if you visit them, you would never believe it's Russia. The classical Russia, the one that people know from films, novels, and so on, is something around Moscow, and it's much smaller than the rest of Russia, that Russian Federation, that Kremlin actually uses for resources. And Russian Federation is extremely centralized. It's not a real federation, and they simply drink blood from these very different republics, that many of which actually in the 90s tried to become independent, like Tatarstan or Sakha. And right now, with his genocidal war against Ukraine, we've touched upon that in the conversation today. Putin conscripts and mobilizes people from distant parts of the Russian Federation, actually solving lots of his ethnic problems in a very Hitler-like style, sending them to these meat grinders in Ukraine. And nobody is actually talking about the protection of these peoples inside Russia. Unfortunately, there is some opposition to Putin, like Navalny, like Khodorkovsky, like I don't know, the widow of Navalny, but they are opposition to Putin, not opposition to Russian imperial project. And when you listen attentively to them, you can clearly see that they are actually for this gathering of former Russian Empire and Soviet Union lands. They are very chauvinistic in what they are saying. And actually, what the world observes right now is the collapse, the dissolution of the last empire. In this other parts of the world, this process ended perhaps in the 19th century or at the beginning of the 20th century. And here it happens to Russia online. Although personally, I would not equate it to an empire, I would compare it to an horde, because it more resembles an horde. Empire was still trying to spread something, I don't know, technologies, more money in the center. And with Russia, with Soviet Union, it was always different. They were taking it all away. And it was very symbolic that his visit to Mongolia, Putin honored Genghis Khan, and lots of troubles here inside in Kiev, Rus. I will not go deep into history, but it all actually began with Mongolian hordes burning Kiev and Russia deciding to cooperate with them, former Moscovia. So we observe right now is this process. It is an agony of an imperial monster. It's a dangerous process because, you know, when dinosaurs died or dragons died falling, they can actually harm someone nearby. And that's what's happening at the moment. But the process of this dissolution, of this destruction of Russia, it has already started. And perhaps even before the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, when Putin first violated international law invading Georgia, and the world did not react properly, allowing him to do that. So this process is happening. Our task is just to make it less violent and try to, I don't know, improve it where possible. What I find very disturbing is that very few intellectuals, politicians are actually ready to discuss the world after Putin, the world after the defeat of Russia. And it's extremely important to visualize this future, because so far people are hiding behind this, like, let Ukraine not die, let Ukraine not lose, but we do need to defeat Russia. And then we will have 140 million brainwashed people who have never experienced what democracy is. And it is extremely naive to hope that they will build something democratic, that we don't need to interfere. You know, it's a problem of the tolerant democratic societies that they take for granted something that was actually developed for centuries in their societies, and they think, oh, we are not allowed to interfere inside Russia. We are not allowed to halt information campaigns there, to, I don't know, shake them from outside, if not militarily, that informationally. And I'm very worried that if left untreated, in 10, 50 years, Russia will give birth to another monster, as they practiced for the last centuries.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear Anna, for this. And I got like a message in a chat that, but there is like one, like a Russian position is a disaster mostly. There is like one guy who many say like understands what is the problem with Russian imperialism. It is Kasparov, and I would.
True, but still, listening to his interviews, I see that he treats Ukraine as a new country that was born in 1991 and wants to shape its national image, when it's wrong. And our history goes far longer and is very different. But hopefully that's something that can be changed in his vision of Ukraine.
Absolutely. Hope like he is a person who like being correctly like informed can really develop a good attitude, because he's really the one who opposed Russian imperialism, and who understands like all these patterns of erasing nations and destroying nations. So Malcolm Nance is back, and that is amazing, because like we lost you, and now you're back. Thank you for having joined us. Tell me, what were the impressions on that Ukrainian Congress which you have visited? What were the speeches of the politician? What was the mood? What is the support for the International Legion and for other units? Malcolm, can you hear us? I cannot hear you, Malcolm. Maybe you could switch your microphone on. No. Okay. Before like before you maybe you try like to switch it off and to enter the chat again. Maybe the connectivity is problematic, because we cannot hear you, despite the fact that your microphone is on. But I have no idea what is going on your side. Maybe the connectivity is overloaded, because many people are reporting now what has happened on that Ukrainian Congress. Yes.
I have a message. I've had a message from our donor matching friend. And I don't know if he's being a little bit sneaky, as there's only 3 minutes left of this stream. But he said, until the end of the stream, everything is matched. So
until
if
the
anyone
end of
in
the
the next
stream,
3 minutes wants to donate, we're at 111,000. and he's going to match it. So if someone wants to quickly drop 10,000, then that amount will be doubled. But I can't imagine anyone's going to do that in the next 3 minutes. I know.
Oh my
I was
gosh,
trying to tell you
guys,
2 minutes
please,
earlier,
please.
but Malcolm Nance came on, and I was like, we can't interrupt the great man himself.
Please, please, please. First, thank him. Thank him. He's a great
Yeah.
person. Like, not sneaky. Don't call this person sneaky. He
I don't
invests like
know.
over hundreds of thousands.
It sounds
Hundreds of
pretty
thousands.
sneaky.
That is amazing. Please.
So we're at 111,000 now, and there are 20,000+ people listening live. So if anyone wants to donate, anything's doubled.
Please go to the link. Go to the PayPal link under this YouTube stream, or like the PayPal link. Donate as much as you can. We have 2 minutes left. If you donate within these 2 minutes, like 2 minutes, this amount will be double matched by a donor. We have now raised 111,000 euro on this PayPal link, and that means we have 222,000 of euro. It's how many? It's like 240,000 US dollar. Amazing. This is all within just 9 hours. 9 hours after the start of our campaign, and this amount is doubled. 222,000 euro. Please go to PayPal link, donate, because your money will be doubled. You donate 100 euro, Ukraine gets 200. You donate 10 euro, Ukraine gets 20. You donate 1,000 euro, Ukraine gets 2,000. Please, you have only 2 minutes left. I feel like I'm in a telemarketing campaign. I'm not. We're all doing great thing for Ukraine. And first of all, you are doing because
1,500 has been donated so far, so that's 3,000 more already in the past minute. So I think people are hearing your call right now, Sergej. I am refreshing as we speak. Another 200, so that's another 400 that's another drone on the front. So it's going wild.
Poor Team Chick.
60
He
seconds
will need
left
to make so many drones.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm already scared.
We've got them
Guys.
here. We've got them ready, you know.
What you can do, because team will spend sleepless nights, you may also, after this time is over, please donate to team's beer, because I know this guy. He lives on beer. He doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep. He makes drones and he drinks beer. You may send like a couple of ratings for team for beer. 1 minute left, maybe less than 1 minute. Please go to PayPal, donate, because this is money being doubled for Ukraine. Okay, now it's over. How much we have? How much we have, Richard?
Someone just dropped another 5,000, so that's 10,000 that has now been raised in the past 3 minutes.
My goodness!
Mind blowing. I mean,
my
maybe there's 60 seconds more. Can we hang on 60 seconds more? Maybe someone else will donate 5,000 too.
Yeah,
I bet you my donor's pulling his hair out now, going, "Why did I say I'd double it?"
I think we are now like overstretching the great intention of the person. The person wanted to double only 50,000. Now he doubled so many, like 120,000. Amazing. How much we had, Richard? Tell me once again, because I cannot refresh it. My browser is dead.
So we've just gone from 111 to probably 117,000 now, plus the original 50,000. So you're at nearly 170,000 euros in the space of 10 hours? I think it's been
117.
117 plus the 50,000. So we're just about to hit 170,000 euros.
Wow!
So
and we have got
$200,000.
And we have got, but wait, we have got this confirmation of the doubling of the whole amount until the end of the stream, right?
Of everything that's donated between 5 minutes ago and now. So yeah, you had an extra.
Between 5 minutes ago and now.
More.
Okay. I hoped you wanted just to donate, like to double everything until this point. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not 222. I'm sorry.
No. You were getting me excited there too. I was wondering what happened. I was refreshing the PayPal. Did someone just drop 100,000? You know.
Anyway, like 170,000 raised together with this Dublin matching thing. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And guys, if you have, we are about to finish the campaign. If you have what you want to say about the stream, about Ukraine, about support for Ukraine, about what we need to do, where we need to look. Please, the floor is yours. I think I start with Fethi because he's like up on my screen.
I'm wondering if Fatih has anything to say about the beautiful drones. If he can tell Alina what her friends are going to be getting on the front, because he's got about what 400 of these now. Tim, you know the exact figure?
Something like 600.
600
Yes.
You've received of these, Fatih. So please tell Alina and all of us why these are the best drones in Ukraine, and if they are. You know, I don't want to speak for you.
So yeah, first of all, I would start that all of those drones made by a frontline kid, they are having top quality parts. This is what we achieved because we had like all the constant feedback, giving feedback on the different parts and exact needs for example, from my Achilles Battalion. So that makes them so special because we know that like all those drones are exact the same, so they require exact the same setup, and nothing gonna make them bad or wrong. Just like this is super good because when you're like when you have a lot of different drones, you have like a mix, like a zoo, like literally a zoo. You need to deal with them separately, and when you get a bunch of drones with the same setup, with the same frames, with the same parts soldered in the same way, it makes us it gives us actually a bit of free time to develop something new, because we spend much more less time in a workshop just like rebuilding drones. So yeah, so we will have a top quality drones, and the guy Timchik, he will be so frustrated right now because he will need to first to seek and buy all those parts for drones. This is also a very heavy lifting part of the job, to find a proper amount of parts and be sure that the quality of those parts are top notch and those parts are not fake. Yeah.
I think
Anna.
Tim's looking forward to the work.
Yeah, our team.
I'm giving the floor to Tim, right?
Okay.
And beer if I have an opportunity.
There we are. Don't worry, Tim has sorted the parts in advance, just to let you know, Fatih.
I'm already on it. It's going good despite the troubles in China. It's going good. I watched a documentary about how Iran evades sanctions, and I got many ideas from that and many inspiration. And I think learning from Iran is learning from the best. And I'm very confident that I can do this. And yeah, I will circumvent the China sanctions and everything will go good. And I'm looking forward to speaking to all of the different units to see what they want. Maybe they want something different than Alexei, and they will get exactly what they want. And I will not sleep a lot in the next 1 month, but it will be worth it.
Yeah, and I want, like, before I go like to Anna and to all the other speakers, I want to personally thank a really great YouTuber who's not here on this stream, but who has helped a lot with the promotion of the stream and who has donated €1,000, and that is absolutely amazing. It is Thorsten Heinrich, who is a person with his channel Military and History. And if you have not signed up for his channel, please do it. An amazing person, a really true friend of Ukraine. And thank you for pitching our live stream. Thank you for mentioning it in your live stream. And thank you for the donation of €1,000. It is double. So it is €2,000. And that means it's almost 7 drones. You have donated 7 drones, Herr Heinrich.
Sergey, my donor has noticed what you're doing. You know, you're up at 8,000 now, so it's 16,000. You haven't ended the stream yet, so you're gonna have to end that stream really quickly. He's gonna be very sad.
Okay. We will do it now. Like really, no tricky thing. We are wrapping up and not trying to make it longer. Just like the last words, and because like we have already overstretched the time of our guests and the patience of our donor. Thank you so much. I cannot name your name because I don't know it. Only Richard knows. But we're endlessly thankful. So Anna, what is your impression and what do you think about VJ German support for Ukraine.
Oh, I think
And not the
that's
German
amazing.
only. We have a lot of Americans, we have Canadians, we have people from Thailand, we have people from Sweden, a lot of people from Sweden have donated. I'm sorry, like I'm a bit overexcited. I wanted like to put Germans in front because sometimes people say you're so lazy with your chancellor, but we are not. But of course, it's not only Germany. No way. It's the world solidarity for Ukraine. I'm so sorry. So stupid, sad. Never wanted to say anything diminish like a input of any other nation. Thank you, guys.
Well, I want to say that apart from really bad things that war brought to Ukraine, one of the greatest discoveries is actually the support and understanding and the desire to help us that we feel from different corners of the world. That is amazing. You might have chosen a different way to spend your evening, but you've spent it supporting Ukraine and understanding that by investing in our defense, we actually together invest in safety and security of this world. And saving money of the amazing donor who helped us today and making my words shorter, I want to thank you for saving lives, because it's not just a competition. It's not a good evening to discuss important things. It's an amazing team that I want to thank all the people who were together with me, Sergej for uniting all of us, but most importantly, all the community who donated officially saved Ukrainian lives and helped us defeat Russia. Thank you for that. Дякую.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna, for your moving words. Indeed, it's about Ukrainian life. It's not about like self-promoting and feeling fancy. It's about Ukrainian lives. When you feel like good, when you save Ukrainian lives, it's great. But the first thing is to save Ukrainian lives, then to feel good. Alina, what is your impression? Is it like, does it feel different comparing to Suvorov-Dohana?
Last summer, 3,000 kilogram guided aerial bomb exploded near me, in the village in Donetsk Oblast. It wasn't something great, something pleasant, but it was a very powerful one. And now I'm feeling the same, but because of your support, and I'm feeling great. Thank you so much. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina, for what you are doing and what you have done. I know like you are a person who truly saved with your hands a lot of Ukrainian lives, being a field medic, being a combat medic. That is absolutely amazing. Like nothing can be compared to that. So thank you so much for this, Alina. And Jason, what is your impression like, and what do you expect? Like, first, do you think crack 100,000 or 120,000 within just 9 hours? And second question is, what is the next Russian region we will visit, you and me together?
I think that we will. I'm pretty sure we will break the fundraising goal, which is obviously wonderful. And it's greatly appreciated. Everybody's contributing. I sincerely appreciate your contribution to Ukraine from the bottom of my heart. But I think the next place that we'll visit, if Russia continues to collapse as it is, I mean, Russia is showing just such incredible weakness. Look at just Suja, which is in the Kursk Oblast, which you and I went to. It only has a population of 5,000 people before the war. And Russia, supposedly a superpower, can't even protect that. It can't even expel invaders. And what's that show you? Russia's a weak country. Despite all the myth that it's a strong country, Russia's in fact a very weak country. And it is a house of cards. And so I would argue that the next city or the next region of Russia that could be visited by all of us together is Moscow. Because I do not think that they are going to be able to survive. I do think that Russia will collapse. I do not think that Russia has the ability to maintain this war. And the best thing that can happen for humanity is the downfall of the Putin regime and the collapse. Russia must be defeated. Russia brings evil around the world, not just to Ukraine, but also to, as we know, Latin America, Africa, Asia. Russia is a global threat. It is a cancer that spreads. And the more that can be done to defeat it now, the better off all of humanity will be.
Absolutely, and I think it will be better. Like I always say to my counterparts in Germany, if they are very pro-Russian, and say, "Oh, you cannot like let Russia collapse or Russia being defeated. It's so bad." I say, look, if you so much love the Russians, you must wish Russia defeat. Because what Russia is doing now, hundreds of thousands of people from Russia are being conscripted, and they've been sent to Ukraine. First, they spoil their soul by killing Ukrainians, raping Ukrainians, torturing Ukrainians, being tools of the genocidal war. They spoil their soul. If you are Christian, okay, I'm not, but if you are, you should say this need to be prevented because they go to hell. Second, Russian families. If you so much think about Russian families, think about them. They need to be defeated. The regime needs to be defeated. The state needs to be defeated. The country needs to be defeated to stop this madness, to stop sending people to the front line. If you so much love the Russians, you must wish immediate military defeat for Russia, because then this madness will stop, and then some regions of Russia will get a chance to be like democratized and to live normal life, not the terrible life of killers and rapists they have now. And if you really love Russia, if you're a Russophile, you need to support Ukraine, because Ukraine helps the Russians to stop this imperial madness. It can sound paradox, because it's of course not the goal of Ukraine. Ukraine wants to protect their people, to protect their territory, to protect their children. But parallelly, they give the Russians the only real chance to get to normality. But now, like I have a message. Yeah, okay, I will come to it a bit later. Operator Starsky, your thoughts. Switch on the microphone, please.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course, I have thoughts. First of all, I would like to say that we should psychologically prepare to the Russian defeat, because this is something we don't often think about, but Russia will be defeated. There's no other way. Russia invested a lot of money, while other civilized countries here in Europe, for example, were investing into social programs and reforms. Russia was stockpiling weapons and investing into weaponry, into tanks, into strategic aviation, missiles. But together we are much stronger than Russia, despite size and everything else. But you know what they say, size doesn't matter. And together we can defeat the Russian terrorists. We should psychologically prepare to this. I would also like to amplify what Anna said about you guys saving Ukrainian lives. Everybody in the chat, everybody supporting Ukraine, guys, you are saving lives. There are people in Ukraine that you most probably will never even see yourself. But those people will see tomorrow because you support our country. This is something really, really important. I would like you to know about it. Those guys will see tomorrow because you support our country. Thank you so much for this. And thank you for your thoughts. I'm talking to our speakers today. Thank you so much for fighting for Ukraine. Thank you for doing whatever you can to make our victory closer and make it possible. Thank you so much.
This is absolutely amazing. So strong words. Thank you for your strong words, Operator Starsky. But does anyone have an access to our PayPal account? Because I cannot see how much, because my browser
just come up on mine and said rate limited. So I think we actually have crashed PayPal, which is impressive, because we have 31,000 people, 40,000 people live with us right now. But I have the screen here. Can you see it? I've got it on a secondary.
It's 123,000. We're open on one.
120.
123,000.
Sergej, you know, not ending the stream on time.
Okay, so
I'm gonna get an angry phone call in a minute.
really, I don't like. It
I
looks
appreciate
really,
you dragging
really
it out,
incredible.
though. You know, I appreciate it.
I really want to stop it. I really want to stop it, not because I don't want this to increase and to grow up, We need to be really polite to a person who has given that big promise and then increase the promise and will hold the promise. And I now want to say, okay, in order for him to continue his support for Ukraine, we need to stop the stream, because otherwise he'll get bankrupt. So everyone, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it is amazing. And Alina and Feki, your units will have a really, really interesting time with receiving all the devices, all the support, and all the equipment from Richard and from other like sources. If you need like something special, like medical equipment or something, which Richard doesn't produce, but drones are a key to saving lives. They save lives, and that is great. So now we end the stream. Thank you so much for the support. It's incredible. 120,000+ raised within slightly more than 9 hours. I've never experienced everything. I heard like that legends like Jake Bro did it. And it's quite another category. Thank you so much, everyone who joined. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Operator Starsky. Thank you, Jay Smart. Thank you,
so
Alina.
much, guys.
Thank you for your service. Thank you, Fetty, for your service. Thank you, Richard and Team Chick. And thank you very much, Jake Bro, who is not now here. And thank you, Malcolm Nance, for having joined it and having pitched. And also, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone who pitched it, who did it on the YouTube, on others like Thorsten Heinrich, Professor Garson, and other people who really did great job, and are really true patriots of Ukraine, even not being Ukrainian citizens. Just think about it. Ukraine is an inspiration for everyone, for all free people in the world. Because if you want to fight for the freedom, you stay with Ukraine. That should be the idea we carry in our minds and Telegram. If you want to be a free person, you need to fight for Ukraine. Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Heroim Slava.
Maybe we should chat in just like in Twitter space or what?
Yes.
Richard.
Twitter space.
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, let's go live.
We're still live. We're still live because we have a delay on the YouTube. I cannot stop the streaming.
It's because we are unstoppable.
Yeah.
So,
Looks
I
like
mean,
that.
we can continue talking about drones and stuff and volunteering and help Ukraine. For example, I still have like free time. Yes, I still have free time, a bit of free time, so we can use it properly.
Just so you know, Sergej, thanks to your very smart delaying, in the space of 26 minutes, you've raised an additional, I think, 26,000 euros for. So that's €1,000 a minute to everyone that's donating right now, because of